This is the Admiral Nakhimov leaving the berth at Sevmash. The tugs fall away. The nuclear signature on the monitoring stations begins to register a steady heat bloom. The press service of the Northern Fleet has confirmed a specific milestone. The cruiser has entered the third stage of sea trials. The final stage. For the engineers on board, this means every system from the reactor control room to the missile deck is operating under combat conditions. The ship is not new. The class is Soviet, but the weapons inside the deck are not Soviet. Walking the forward deck reveals a landscape of flat steel hatches. The old granite launchers are gone. In their place, a grid. 176 vertical launch cells are now welded into the hull. This is not an estimate from open source intelligence. This is the configuration released by the Design Bureau. The breakdown is specific. 80 cells belong to the offensive mission. The remaining 96 cells belong to the defensive mission. No other surface ship anywhere carries this number of ready rounds. The American Ticonderoga carries 122. The Chinese Type 055 carries 112. The Russian cruiser carries 176. The crew does not reload at sea. The doctrine assumes one massive engagement, one sortie, one salvo, and then return to base. Inside those 80 cells, 3 different missiles sit in identical tubes. The loader does not care which is which. The fire control computer decides. First, the P-800 Oniks. This is a ramjet. It flies at treetop height. The speed is Mach 2.5. Against a surface group, the Oniks arrives before the radar warning receiver finishes its first sweep. Second, the 3M-14T Kalibr. This missile flies subsonic, but the range is 1,500 kilometers. The Admiral Nakhimov can stand off the coast of Norway and strike a target inside Germany. No need to enter the fjords. No need to risk the shallow water. Third, the 3M-22 Zircon. This is the hypersonic weapon, Mach 9 at boost phase. The trajectory takes the missile above the atmosphere. It descends at an angle that defensive systems cannot compute. The Zircon explode with 300 kilograms warhead and kinetic energy. It impacts. The kinetic energy alone splits the target. The 80 cells hold these 3 weapons in any mix. The commander decides before sailing. Heavy on Zircon for carrier hunting, heavy on Kalibr for coastal bombardment, heavy on Oniks for fleet engagement. The remaining 96 cells serve a different purpose. They are not for killing the enemy. They are for erasing the enemy's weapons. This is the naval S-400 system. The Russian designation is the Poliment-Redut complex. 96 cells. But some of those cells hold quad-packed missiles. The 9M100 interceptor fits 4 to a tube. In practical terms, the cruiser carries over 200 interceptors. The radar on the main mast is an active electronically scanned array. 4 fixed faces, no moving parts. The system detects a sea-skimming missile at 40 kilometers. It assigns an interceptor in less than 1 second. The doctrine of the Northern Fleet places the Admiral Nakhimov at the center of any surface group. The smaller frigates and corvettes screen the perimeter, but the battlecruiser provides the umbrella. Anything that flies within 150 kilometers of the flagship enters the engagement zone. The reactors are KN-3 models. 2 of them, 300 megawatts each. The thermal output drives 2 steam turbines and 4 turbo generators. The ship can sprint at 32 knots. The interesting number is not the speed. The interesting number is the endurance. The cruiser does not burn fuel oil. The reactors do not need refueling for 7 years. The only limits are the food stores and the crew's sanity. The third stage of trials includes a full-power reactor test. The engineers in the main control room watch the pressure readings. The steam valves open to 100%. The shaft horsepower reaches the design specification for the first time since the refit began 7 years ago. The vibration through the hull changes at 30 knots. The older Kirov class shook violently at high speed. The new mounts and dampeners reduce the resonance. The acoustic signature drops. The submarine listening posts hear less of the cruiser at flank speed than they did during Soviet exercises. Inside the bridge, the layout is fully digital. The old analog consoles from the Soviet era are gone. The crew works at large high-resolution LCD panels mounted on hardened workstations. The Russian-made Elara integrated bridge system presents synthetic radar imagery, satellite tracks, and weapon telemetry on a single unified glass interface. The Combat Information Center sits 4 decks below the armor belt. The operators watch a single large display. The radar feeds from the ESA arrays. The sonar feeds from the bow-mounted low-frequency array. The satellite feed from the Liana reconnaissance constellation. The ship does not need airborne early warning. The cruiser's own radar sees out to 600 kilometers against bomber-sized targets. The fire control computer filters the clutter. The operator selects the 80 offensive cells. The computer selects the interceptors from the 96 defensive cells. The human decision is only the launch order. Everything else is automatic. The press service of the Northern Fleet describes this as the third and final stage. The first stage tested the reactors at pier side. The second stage tested the radars in sheltered waters. The third stage tests the missile launch computers in open ocean.
The cruiser is currently firing telemetry rounds. These are missiles without warheads. The radar tracks the launch plume.
The fire control computer corrects the trajectory. The telemetry data streams back to Sevmosh for analysis. One specific test involves the Zircon. The telemetry round flies a high apogee trajectory. The radar tracks the re-entry vehicle. The interceptor cells remain cold. This is not an interception test. This is a targeting test. The cruiser proves it can guide a hypersonic missile from launch to impact using its own radar without off-board assistance. The Admiral Nakhimov will enter the Northern Fleet's order of battle before the winter ice closes the White Sea. The crew has trained on the new systems for 18 months. The reactors are stable. The cells are loaded. 176 missiles, 80 to strike, 96 to shield. 3 weapons in the offensive battery, 4 interceptors in the defensive battery, a nuclear power plant that asks for nothing but coolant water and attention from the engineers. Until now, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.